What is up, everybody? On today's Unbiased Hard Take, got a great lineup for you guys today because we have an all-football lineup today, and we are going to be reacting to the college football playoffs where we have 4 teams remaining, that being IU, which is sickening, Oregon, Ole Miss, and Miami. And we're going to talk about Week 18 NFL action where we're going to predict today's Carolina Panthers Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, essentially a win and get in for Carolina. Then we're going to predict the Pittsburgh Steelers versus Baltimore Ravens game, which is a very definition of a win and get in. And then we'll predict San Francisco and Seattle, which will determine the 1 seed in the NFC. And then also we're going to talk about the Unbiased Hard Take. Fantasy Football Super Bowl is here. We are in the last week of the regular season in our 2nd annual Unbiased Hard Take Fantasy Championship, where this trophy here will be won, and bragging rights, of course. So we've been posting that on our Facebook page. Go check that out. Links in the description down below. Again, we'll be talking about that. It'll be Puffy Flavor Camp, which is me, versus Team Man. So stay tuned for more.
Here we go.
What is up, everybody? I am pumped up, as you can tell, because we are officially, can't believe I'm saying this, in Week 18 of our 3rd NFL season with you guys. So, can't believe we're already here. Playoffs are next week, and we have a lot of meaningful football games this weekend. And starting really in the next hour and a half as of me recording this, because Carolina, Tampa Bay will play. But we're going to start right now in the world of college football, because we've had some really good college football action. And as everyone probably already knows, Oregon will play IU in the semifinals. And then, of course, Ole Miss, will play Miami. So we'll talk a little bit about that to start, and we're going to start with Oregon, Texas Tech, because I am coined on saying, I got some hate from people I know for saying this, people think it's a ridiculous take, but it's really not, and this playoffs is proving it, because people are saying, oh, there's parity in college football again, and I understand why they're saying that, because out of the 4 remaining teams, out of Oregon, Ole Miss, IU, and Miami, all 4 of those teams have never won a college football national championship. And while, yes, there's parity, it's not your same old Georgias, Clemsons, Auburns, Alabamas, that type of thing, Texas. It's not those type of teams right now. And you do have some different teams in there. But let's look. People, I was coined last week on saying that, and this is truly how I feel, and this is just a reality. The SEC and the Big Ten are on just different levels right now. I firmly believe we just need to cut the shit. Let's just cut the crap and stop pretending the little guys like James Madison have a chance. They don't. And it's flat obvious. And really, no conference outside of the SEC and Big Ten have a chance. Miami's the only team remaining out of all 4 of these teams that are not in the SEC or the Big Ten. The Big Ten and the SEC are in their own conference. They need to bind together and make those teams only eligible for the college football playoffs. The ACC is irrelevant. Miami's going to lose. I promise you. Miami will get crushed by Ole Miss. And then, I mean, James Madison, really? You could put Notre Dame in there. I understand they're an independent school, but, I mean, Notre Dame was way more deserving than James Madison. Let's just be real here. And this proves it, because of course IU's a Big Ten school, Oregon's a Big Ten school, Ole Miss is an SEC school. That's the only non-SEC Big Ten's Miami. It's been this way forever, where the other teams just get crushed by the SEC and the Big Ten, and the Big Ten and SEC always come out on top. And I guarantee you, Miami will not win the college football championship, because it'll be against an SEC team or a Big Ten team. It's not an anomaly that 3/4 is from the same 2 conferences. The reality is this. You want to make these games more competitive? You want to truly make these games more competitive, because in the last game that, let me pull it up here, that Texas Tech played, they got blanked. I'll make sure I was right there, and I was. 23-0 by Oregon. And that was Texas Tech with the 0. And you notice, oh look, a Big Ten team versus a Big 12 team. And it showed. I mean, Oregon won this game handily. It wasn't even close. And Dante Moore didn't score a single touchdown, actually threw an interception on top of it, and Oregon's leading rusher, Davidson, 42 rushing yards. Averaged 2.8 yards a carry. And this game, if people watch that game, it was just a blowout from the start, and you could tell. Blowouts don't necessarily have to be 55-10. That's not necessarily the case. I mean, Oregon had more total yards, 309 to 215, and more passing yards. Had more yards per play, won the turnover battle, had less penalties, and won the time of possession differential by over 10 minutes. Texas Tech only had the ball for 22 minutes that entire game. The level of competition's on a different level. It really is. I think the other conferences should come up with their own bowl system, their own playoff system, so to speak, and just let the big boys play it out for the real national championship, and they can have maybe a cute little NIT tournament or something, or put them down to FCS divisions. Because let's be real, the SEC and the Big Ten are the only ones that matter, and this is coming down to being proven again this season. 3/4 of the Final Four teams are Big Ten and SEC. It's not a coincidence, people. It's the only two conferences that matter. Get rid of the rest of them. Give them a little NIT, cute little fake tournament or something. It's just reality. Or make them FCS divisions. It's going to be a very unpopular opinion, but that's what it is. But then we're going to jump right on into the world of the NFL, because we have some great action this weekend, and I'm ready for it. Because here in about an hour and 15, I plan on having this video up, hopefully, before kickoff. That way, my prediction can say, people say it's not altered, and y'all can get this video watched, maybe as you're watching the game, or even a little bit before. So we're going to start with Tampa Bay and Carolina. And here's the deal. This is not necessarily 100% win and get in. It's being advertised that way. I get marketing. And it sort of is, because Carolina wins, it's over. They are in the playoffs. Tampa Bay's eliminated. But if Tampa Bay wins this game, they still need Atlanta to lose tomorrow to New Orleans to get in the playoffs. Because at that point, Carolina will win the tiebreaker at an 8-9 record. I think Carolina wins this game. Carolina, I think, they had a chance last week to clinch the division. Couldn't necessarily do it. But I don't necessarily hold that against them, because obviously no one really expects them to make too much noise if either one of these teams get into the playoffs. But, I mean, Carolina's been a little sneaky all season long this year. I mean, I didn't necessarily expect them to beat Seattle. No one did. I mean, they held it close. At one point, it was a 3-3 game or something along those lines, I mean, around halftime. So they kept it close for a while. They're a decent team, but Seattle's just a more talented team, and they pulled away 27-10 late. But this season, Carolina's beaten Green Bay, who's a playoff team, and beaten the Rams. So let's just keep that in mind. There's a 31-28 win for the Panthers against the Rams on November 30th, and as we all Packer fans know, they beat the Packers 16-13 on November 2nd. So they've beaten two very good playoff teams that already clinched weeks ago. So, and for them to hold Seattle to a 3-3 score around halfway through that game, and Tampa Bay is just playing horrible football right now. Holy mackerel. And I don't know what happened to them, but they're just 7-9 right now, and they are straight reeling. So I'm going to pick Carolina to win this game. Bryce Young's been sneaky good this season. And if he wins this game, because they were in a similar position to this last year, so if Carolina can win this game, win their division, secure a winning record, and host a playoff game, that would prove that Bryce Young is your franchise quarterback in my eyes. And I think truly that that Carolina is the better team. So, of course, Bryce Young right now, I'm going to pull up his statistics here, because he's 2,745 yards, so a chance to break 3,000 today in a division-clinching game, 21 tutties, 10 interceptions. So he's looking like an above-average quarterback. A couple years ago, people were saying that he was cooked. And for him to be here now with a chance to clinch the division against a division rival, this is your moment, Bryce. This is your time to prove you're the other guy. Because Carolina's had a very good season this year and pulled up two major upsets. So I do expect Carolina to win this game. Like I said, the Buccaneers are reeling. They've lost already to the Panthers this, not even less than a month ago, where Carolina won 23-20. So I think history will repeat itself. Carolina had already beat them earlier this season, and it wasn't like it was back in October. No, it was less than a month ago. And Tampa Bay has looked horrible even before that. They lost to the Saints a few weeks before that even, and had a horrible loss to the Falcons. Just an embarrassing loss. So they've lost a couple in a row. They're truly reeling at the worst possible time. So give me Carolina in this game. Then moving on to tonight's action at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, we have Seattle, San Francisco, and this is going to be a good game. I think this will be a down-to-the-wire game, but ultimately I'm going to pick San Francisco to win this game. Right now, Brock Purdy is just playing absolutely outstanding football. George Kittle said he's absolutely going to play. He's officially questionable, and there was optimism in the reports that he was going to play, so we'll officially see what happens about an hour and a half before game time. But he's looking like he's going to be back this week. And the backup tight end had a great game last week, too, over 60 receiving yards himself and multiple catches. I can't recall the backup tight end for the Niners' name, but he had a really good game last week where the Niners just had an outstanding win against a good Bears team. I hate to say that. It's disgusting. But the Bears are a good team. They really are. I give them a lot of flack on this team. Packers do still own you. That's just reality. I mean, look at the history books, and we'll beat you in the playoffs if we see you. That's just reality. But in this game, I'm going to pick San Francisco, and mainly because of what I've seen a little bit from Seattle. I mean, Seattle's been winning some of these games, yes, like the Colts game. But the Colts game, their offense just looked kind of putrid. And it took a late heroic effort and a late score to win that game. It was 16-18. It took a late drive by Darnold to win that game. They almost got beat by Grandpa Rivers. So, some of these games for Seattle's been ugly. I mean, you're doing that against the Colts. I mean, they let Carolina hang in there a little too much. I mean, and even against the Rams, they had moments to where they just did not look good on any level. I mean, at halftime, it was 13-7. So, I mean, that's not necessarily where you want to be. So, Seattle's just kind of looked rough at times, even in wins. So, I do think San Francisco wins this game. Kyle Shanahan at least has been to a Super Bowl, so we know he has that type of experience. And I do think ultimately they're going to be able to get it done. And I do think Brock Purdy's playing better than Sam Darnold right now, and that Brock Purdy is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. Kittle's coming back. I think San Francisco will win this game. Then we have Baltimore-Pittsburgh. And I smile because Aaron Rodgers has had a great season for Pittsburgh. He's led them to another winning record, extended Mike Tomlin's streak of winning records to, I believe, 19 seasons. That was a sports fact of the day. So almost 2 decades worth of 500 or better football. But tell me this isn't the most Steelers thing ever. They have a chance last week to, all they have to do is beat the Browns, who are like 3-13 at the time. Or 3-12, something like that. Horrible record. That's all they had to do. And they couldn't even do that. They didn't even score a touchdown. I guess at least they didn't let Myles Garrett break the sack record because it seemed like that's all they cared about. And of course, DK Metcalf gets suspended for the remainder of the season because he's assaulting fans in the stands like Ron Artest at a Pacers game. And it's just, this is the most Steelers thing I've ever seen. A receiver causing distractions. Tell me you ain't seen that before, Pittsburgh. And then Aaron Rodgers doing all he can, but caring more about a stat and a record than he does about team performance, which that's what I've seen. And Mike Tomlin doing the same thing. All he cares about is his 500 and better record in all time, and he got that secured, 9 wins, and they just came out flat. In a game, all they had to do was beat the pathetic Browns. I know the Packers lost to the Browns, but this wasn't in a division-clinching game. Come on. Like, come on. And then Baltimore's getting healthy. Derrick Henry's looking like an MVP type of player right now. Over 10 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards again. One of the best running backs of all time. Lamar Jackson's going to play tomorrow, on Sunday Night Football. This is in Pittsburgh. Tell me this doesn't feel like Mike Tomlin losing all over again. Losing the division lead. Had a chance to wrap it up against a horrible Browns team, and then they're going to lose to Lamar in a close game. Tell me that does not feel like what's about to happen right now, and that at least we'll have our winning record. It'll be the mentality. And tell me that does not feel like what's going to happen. Because that's what it feels like for me. I think Baltimore wins this game. I hope I'm wrong, because I want to see Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs one more time. And it's JB's team, so we want to see JB's team get in the playoffs as we have the Packers. And that was JB's Super Bowl prediction, Green Bay, Pittsburgh. So we want to have both Green Bay and Pittsburgh at least a chance to prove it in the playoffs. So I do hope Pittsburgh wins this game, JB. I hope I'm wrong, but this just feels like Baltimore all day. Pittsburgh had their chance last week and they blew it. And this just feels like Baltimore has all the momentum after a good win at Lambeau, which was humiliating for Green Bay. A good win at Lambeau. Pittsburgh, a deflating loss against Cleveland with a chance to win the division. And it feels like it gave new life to Lamar, who's a two-time league MVP, may I add you. So, and Derrick Henry, and that Pittsburgh defense is just not good. So I feel like that Baltimore is just going to be able to score more points than Pittsburgh will without DK Metcalf. That's just what it feels like. I hope I'm wrong. I want to see Aaron Rodgers one more time in the playoffs. He's had a great season. I'm going to pull up Aaron Rodgers' exact stats. I know he just went over 3,000 yards again, and people said he was washed up, and he's proven he hasn't, but he's not, because he's led the Steelers to a winning record. I mean, we got proven that imagine that it's the Jets. 3,028 yards, 23 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 95.3 QBR. Again, not the MVP Aaron Rodgers, but definitely far from washed up. So I want to see him in the playoffs again. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm picking Baltimore in this game. Let's just be real. It's what it feels like. Sorry, JB. But then we're not going to predict the Green Bay game because they're playing Clayton Tune at quarterback and resting most of our players in a meaningless game against the Vikings, where the Vikings will be playing their starters. So Green Bay, I hope I'm wrong. I always hope Green Bay wins. I'll be tuning in, watching. You know, I know that. Go Pack, go forever. But it's a meaningless game, essentially a bye week. Green Bay had their bye week in week 5. So, I mean, it's definitely needed with this amount of injuries. And we'll be able to go into the playoffs with no excuses and be able to execute, hopefully. And bring home the Lombardi. I mean, that's just reality. Hopefully our backups can get a win tomorrow in Minnesota, so go Pack go, but I'm picking Minnesota. I do think Detroit will also beat Chicago in a game for Chicago that's essentially meaningless as well. You've already clinched the division, and you can no longer have the 1 seed. So they'll be playing on wild card weekend in Chicago no matter what, so I don't expect them to really take too much in the game. Detroit will win that game, and I think all 4 teams in the NFC North will finish with a above 500 record. Best division in football. That's my prediction for that. So, again, we're going to jump real quick into the world of the Unbiased Hard Take Fantasy Football League. And again, for those of you following along, we did the live stream draft. We've talked about it on this podcast with updates and stuff of that nature on our shows on the podcast. So, and of course, on our Facebook page, we've been putting score updates, standing updates, everything, down to the T for you guys every week with updates on that, with the playoffs picture, standings, weekly scores, all that good stuff. So, as you guys have known, if you've been following on Facebook, if you haven't, just go check it out on our Facebook. Link to that in the description down below. Give us some love on there. Really appreciate it. JB's been very active on Facebook as well on weekly Steelers updates and things of that nature. So go check that out. But we are now down to the Fantasy Football Championship. And they actually call this the, what do they call it in the actual little fantasy app here? Let me see. They actually call it the Fantasy Super Bowl. So that's what I'm going to call it. I mean, might as well, right? It's all good and fun. But we do know the winner will get this trophy here, brought to you by the Unbiased Hard Take Fantasy Football 2nd Annual League. Last year was merch. This year we came on with the trophy. And you never know about next year. So this trophy right here will end up being on my Unbiased Hard Take desk. So I'm going to talk some crap now because I barely snuck into the playoffs, as you guys know, at 9-7, and was able to beat out Team Carson as a tiebreaker. So it was really close down to the wire. There was a time where I was talking about that it just looked like I was not going to be able to make the playoffs. But that I did sneak in at the end with the last seed, the 4 seed, and now taking on Team Man, who is 10-6 on the year. And again, my starting lineup this week: Drake May, Derrick Henry, James Cook, George Pickens, K. Turpin. Because remember, we do have kick return yards in our league, as you guys have known that all season long. So I have Kevontae Turpin in my lineup for that. George Kittle, who's questionable, either him or it'll be Kyle Pitts for me. Kittle if he's active. Kenneth Gainwell, Jacksonville's kicker, Mr. Little. The New England Patriots defense, and the linebacker from Miami, I have on my defensive player Jordan Brooks. He's questionable, so if he cannot go, I will be then starting White, the Vegas linebacker. Devin White. And then we have Team Man, whose starting lineup right now is Baker Mayfield, Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, Chris Godwin, A.J. Brown, Jake Ferguson, tight end from Dallas. You have Chase Brown, Cincinnati's running back, and then they'll wrap it up Jake Elliott, the kicker, Broncos defense, and Edgerrin Cooper, Green Bay's linebacker, for his starting lineup. So, again, who do you think will win the Fantasy Football Trophy? Will it be Team Puffy, Flavor Camp, me? Get that baby oil. Or Team Man? Who will it be? The underdog, which is me, or the favorite, Team Man? Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Again, thank you for following along on our second annual Unbiased Hard Take Fantasy Football. I speak from that, me and JB. So again, well, that's all I got. I mean, really, so like, subscribe, hit the bell, like us on Facebook. Check out the Sports Fact Today on Facebook. I do that every day for the last couple years. We really appreciate that. We're almost nearing 200 followers on our Facebook page, so please give us some love there. And nearing 100 on YouTube. Had a couple of videos hitting the Ks, so that's nice to see. Especially our shorts. Had a lot of videos hit comments these last few weeks. So we really appreciate the interactions with you guys. And keep letting us know what you guys think of the show, what we can do better on, and what you guys want to talk about, and what you guys want to hear. So, that's all I got. Till next time. Let's go Heat. We're on a bit of a winning streak here. Let's beat Minnesota today. Come on, let's get it done. Boiler up. 5th in the country, baby. Football's not our sport, but we at least got basketball. Basketball state, so shove that IU. And then, go Pack, go baby. Playing our backup tomorrow, but still a regular season game. So let's beat the Vikings. Go Pack, go baby.